Hey, this is Deepak here, and welcome to the next lesson in my digital marketing training program. In the previous lesson, I stressed the importance of creating your own website so that you can apply whatever you learned in digital marketing, and through application and implementation, you will learn it better and you will remember it better. So, in this video, we will look at how to create your own website, and we will look at some of the concepts involved in it. So, what kind of website do I recommend? So I recommend a self-hosted WordPress blog on a custom domain name. So this is the kind of website that I recommend that you install so that you can learn digital marketing. I recommend this because WordPress is the best content management system that is available on the internet. And reports say that 22% of the internet is made up of WordPress. So it's obviously the best content management system. And the good thing about is that it's an open source software, which means that you need not pay them anything to install it on your website, and it is developed by a group of developers who are spread all over the world. And also another advantage is that the WordPress community is so large that people have developed a lot of free and paid plugins which can integrate with WordPress, which will enhance your website. So normally bringing out some capabilities of website, adding a lot of premium features would cost a lot of money in terms of development, but with WordPress it's very easy. So also a lot of people ask me whether it is okay to start a free blog, and I would not recommend a free blog. Free blog in the sense blogspot.com, blogger.com. There are many platforms which give you free blogs, and usually these free blogs kind of give you a free hosting. They either ask you to connect your domain name, or you can get a domain name such as yourname.blogspot.com. And in WordPress also you have to note that what I am talking about is that self-hosted WordPress means wordpress.org, which is wordpress.org, and not the wordpress.com. wordpress.com is again the free version, which I don't recommend. So there are a couple of reasons why I don't recommend free hosting, because they have some terms which says that you cannot use it for commercial purposes. You can use it only for personal blogging, and you cannot make money with it. So here a lot of people don't actually read the terms of conditions of such free hosting, blog hosting services. They go ahead, and one day their blog is deleted and there is no way to actually contact them and recover your blog. And usually for free services like this, there is no proper customer support because millions of people are using these free services. So it's basically building a house on a land which is not yours. So what I recommend is that you should get your own domain name, and as long as you have your own domain name, it's like having your own piece of land, and no one can actually try to take the domain name away from you as long as it is legal. And also website builders and HTML templates also do not give you flexibility. So if you are trying to create a website with a HTML template, you can just create a few pages, and beyond that there is not really anything that you can do with the website, right? And also if you are going for some free website builders, while learning digital marketing, you will not be able to apply all the concepts in it, so it will become very difficult. And in general, I would say that blogging is better than building static websites, and you also have the opportunity to make revenue with blogging. So don't build static website, instead create a blog where you write useful content. So here you will also be able to practice SEO, practice content marketing, and eventually your blog could become a project of its own. And even if it is generating some small revenue, it would still add to your income, and it would become a project which would stay for you for a long time. So some of the website projects that I have started several years back still run today, and I really like running them, and it gives me some side income. It helps me learn digital marketing, as I have already discussed about it. So let's get started with domain name hosting, then we will talk about WordPress and how to go about it. So let's start with a domain name. So how to choose a domain name? So domain name is basically just a name with an extension like .com, .net or .in, which you probably already know, right? So the first tip for choosing a domain name would be to choose the domain name that is a brandable name, which means that, for example, my website digitaldeepak.com, the name Digital Deepak can be converted into a brand, right? I think right now it's already a brand because a lot of people refer my website to other people, and it's easy to remember. So when you think about brand names such as, let's say, McDonald's or KFC, or it could be Apple, or it could be Dell Computer, so everything is a brand, and you have to make sure that your website is a brand name, right? So the other option is to go for keyword based domain names. Keyword based domain names are also okay if you build a brand around it, and if you are able to build a brand around it, right? So I have a domain name called learnblogging.com. So this domain name I have for a future project which I have not yet started. But learnblogging.com is not a very brandable name, but still I can build a brand around it. It's a very short, very neat, very meaningful keyword domain name. So keyword domain names are basically names which people actually search for, and people use it in everyday language, right? And I always recommend .com, and I always recommend having a domain name less than 10 characters as much as possible. Of course, Digital Deepak and learnblogging.com are not less than 10 characters, but there was a study which was made, and they analyzed the top 100 websites, and they found out that 70 websites of the top 100 websites are .com names with less than 10 characters. For example, even if you think about brand names such as Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, most of the big brand names which have made it big are .com names with less than 10 characters, and that actually helps in branding a lot if you are thinking about really expanding your company to a very big extent. But if you are running a blog, maybe going a little bit more than 10 characters becomes necessary at times because of the unavailability of domain names. And also you should use .com as much as possible. So there are a lot of more topics I can talk about this, but instead what I have done, I have written a very comprehensive article about it, which I have given a link below this video. So definitely check out those articles to help you choose a domain name. And also another question that you may have is that is country specific domain names are okay, like .in domain names, or it could be .de for Germany, .us for USA. So are country specific domain names acceptable? So it is okay as long as your project is never going to become an international thing. For example, initially when I started a motorcycle blog called Bike Advice, I thought I would be blogging only about Indian motorcycles, and it was a .in domain name. But after a few years, when I wanted to start blogging about international motorcycles and international motorcycle scene, the domain name kind of became a brand. Since .in was attached to it, it kind of became an Indian brand, and I was not really able to focus on the world, and that is a difficulty that you may have, and changing a domain name on a later date is very difficult, right? So we don't want to do that, because it changing the brand name itself involves lots of cost involved to it. People will forget a brand name, forget the old name, and the old name has some value. We really don't want to go through that hassle, right? So next, once you have chosen the right domain name to register, I also have included some resources below this video where you can go and find out available domain names. There are lots of websites which will help you find out some name hacks, such as it will give you suggestions about different names and things like that. So once you have chosen the name, once you have found an available name, what you can do is that you have to go ahead and register it. So let us see where you can go ahead and register the names. So initially, if you are just running an experimental project, and if you want to register a cheap domain name, for example for $2 or for 100 rupees, you can register it at godaddy.com or bigrock.com. So both these websites give domain names for very cheap, but only for the first year. I usually use name.com and namecheap.com alternatively. Like if you go ahead and look at some of the domain names I use, if you look in the Whois database, you will see that it is either registered at name or namecheap. And both these companies have two-factor authentication, just like Gmail, where they send a OTP code to your mobile, and only after entering that you will be able to log in. And since domain names are your most valuable online assets, it is recommended that you hold it at these registrars which offer you two-factor authentication. And after the first year, most of the domain registrars will charge you around $10 a year for domain renewal, and there is a possibility to change domain name from one registrar to another registrar. Also make sure that you have a very good customer support with whatever domain name registrar that you choose. You can also go ahead and choose some other registrar if you are comfortable with. And if you are registering your domain name at GoDaddy in the first year for very cheap, let's say for 99 rupees or 110 rupees, after 1 year, or immediately after 2 months, you can transfer the domain name from GoDaddy to name.com, and the transfer process is very simple. It's just like mobile number portability. It's called domain portability. You just need to go through step-by-step process, and if you contact the customer support, they will help you with it. So after 2 months, the domain name is eligible for transfer. For the transfer, you may have to pay around $8-9, but they also give you 1 year extension, so it is basically taken as renewal. And always I recommend that you have the domain name and hosting separately and in separate companies. All right, so there are a few hosting companies who will also offer domain names. I really don't recommend that, because there are certain companies who specialize in domain name management, certain companies who specialize in hosting management. So that's very important. So where do you host your WordPress blog? So that is the next question that we have. So once you have decided the domain name, once you have registered the domain name, the next step is to actually get a web hosting account so that you can host your WordPress blog, right? So I recommend this company called hostgator.com. I use HostGator for many of my websites, not for digitaldeepak.com though, I will tell you why. But hostgator.com is really good for starter websites, and they have a plan called baby plan. So they have a hatchling plan, baby plan, and business plan. So hatchling plan will allow you to host only one website. Baby plan will be marginally little bit more costly than the hatchling plan, but baby plan will allow you to add multiple websites. You can add 10, 20, 30 websites and install 30 WordPress blogs in the same hosting account. And usually when you look at many hosting companies such as HostGator and many competing hosting companies, they would say that they give you unlimited bandwidth, they give you unlimited this, unlimited that. In reality, there is no such thing as unlimited. Though they market it in such a way that it is unlimited, eventually they will ask you to pay if you get a lot of traffic. So if you get more than 500 visitors a day to your blog, and if you need higher page load speed, you can go for managed WordPress hosting. And I also have given recommendations for managed WordPress hosting below this video, so you can definitely go and check that out. I personally host my website in a managed WordPress hosting, and the hosting company is called trafficplanet.hosting.com. And HostGator also can accommodate 500 visitors a day without any problem, even 1000 visitors a day, but the page load speed will not be great. And page load speed is very important if you are serious in your blogging project, because the better page load speed means better user experience, and also you will get more search engine traffic to your blog if the page loads faster. So search engine consider page load speed as one of the factors for ranking the website. So faster websites rank better. So for 10,000 plus visitors a day, if you get for your website, VPS or dedicated servers are good options. For example, when I was running my motorcycle website, I was using a VPS server, and I also have given some recommendations for hosting companies which give very good VPS servers and dedicated servers. So technically you need not really worry about what VPS and dedicated servers are. As marketers and digital marketers, you just need to know the basics, right? So I really don't want you to go ahead and think about it in a very deep technical way. So then you have to link your domain name and hosting. So I told you that you have to hold your domain name in a separate company and hosting in a separate company, and you have to link both of them. So to make you understand, let me give you a simple example. A domain name is like a name in the address book. All right, so you have your phone. In your phone there are contacts, and imagine a domain name to be a name of a contact, right? Let's say you have the name of your friend. That name is not going to change ever, right? That name is going to be permanent. The IP address of the server is like the phone number of a person, right? Which can change. For example, if you have a friend, he has a phone number, and maybe next year he changes his phone number, you will just update the phone number in your contacts in your phone, right? You will not change the name never changes. So just like that, the hosting company, the server will have a separate IP address, and this IP address can change. The hosting company can change themselves, or if you go to a new hosting company, the IP address of your website will change. But your domain name needs to know which hosting to point to. So basically, when you open a browser and enter a domain name, the browser checks the IP address that is connected to the domain name, and it will go and reach the server and load the files. So domain names can be connected with CNAME records, A records, or using name servers. It's a little bit of a complex thing, but you really need not worry about it as long you know the simple steps. Even I don't know about it in an in-depth way. The way that domain name and hosting works in the World Wide Web is very, very complex. But as I said, as marketers, we really need not break our head with it. For example, if you are thinking about the screen that you are seeing right now, you just know that the screen displays what you want. You don't know how this screen works, right? It could be an LCD display, and there is high technology involved in this LCD display. You really don't know how it works, but you know how to use it, right? So that's what I recommend. Don't try to go too deep into learning everything that you are using, for example hosting, domain names, because you really don't need to focus on that. You need to focus on marketing, you need to focus on creating products, understanding your customers, and trying to sell it to your customers. That's what you need to focus on. So that's what I have always done. I have never gone very deep into learning something which is not necessary for me and which is not my core area. So there will be steps. So there will be customer support for both the domain name company and the hosting company. Initially, you may need to contact customer support to learn how things work. So they will tell you what to do. For example, once you sign up for a hosting company, they will give you something called name servers. You just need to go into your domain name dashboard and enter the name servers in your domain name, so that this domain name knows that this is the hosting that it has to get connected to. And once this gets done, the next step is to install the WordPress blog. So installing WordPress blog is also a little bit of a process which you have to learn. I have given link to an article below this video which tells you how to install a WordPress blog. So go ahead and do it. So let's look at what are all the tasks for today's lesson. So go ahead and purchase your domain name. Maybe you have already purchased a domain name. Next, you can go ahead and purchase web hosting from HostGator. So I have a partnership with HostGator where they pay me a commission every time I refer a customer to them. It's not just for that I am referring HostGator. Even my own websites are at HostGator. For example, some of my websites, deepak.biz and techblogger.com, carbeam.com. So you can go and check. You will see that it is hosted at HostGator. I really recommend them. So you can use this coupon code Digital Deepak while you are checking out. It will give you a $10 discount, exactly $9.94. So first month you can actually just pay 1 cent. So 1 cent in Indian rupees is like 65 paise right now. And for 1 month it will be free. You can go ahead and experiment with it if you want. And next, once you sign up for a HostGator account, you have to link your domain name and web hosting account. Go through support articles and find out how to link it, find out the exact process. And once both of them are linked, if you visit your domain name, you should be able to see the HostGator page load. And next, you have to install WordPress blog manually on your hosting. So it's a little bit of a process where you have to download the files from WordPress, install it on your hosting, and you need to do a little bit of configuration there. So exact steps involved in it, I have written an article about it, and I have given the link to the article below this video as well. So that's it for today. Go ahead and create your WordPress blog, and all the best, and welcome to the blogging journey that you are going to get started with today. So that's it for today's lesson, and if you have any questions, contact me, leave a comment below, or you can go ahead and post it in our Facebook forum where we learn digital marketing. And that's it for today's lesson. So see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.